Germany's incoming Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, says he no longer believes US security commitments to Europe can be taken for granted. And that has led to doubts about the future of the US nuclear umbrella for Germany.
Germany might decline the acquisition of American F-35 jets due to worries that under President Trump, the United States could remotely deactivate the aircraft. Allegedly, the US has integrated kill switches into these jets. Tensions continue to mount in Central Europe. Germany appears to be reconsidering its reliance on the American F-35s, previously regarded as central to its defense plans. With Portugal and Canada already changing their stance, global attention is once again drawn to the question who is buying weapons from whom. Concerns over potential kill switches, particularly in Germany, alongside deteriorating relations with Europe under the Trump administration, seem to have pushed Berlin towards rethinking its defense policy. Could the German government truly abandon the $8.4 billion F-35 contract and say, we no longer need these planes? How might turbulent US-EU relations influence this outcome? And will the remainder of the European Union align with this shift? Let's delve deeper into Berlin's F-35 decision and the global speculation surrounding it. If you're finding this topic insightful, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into global defense politics. Two close allies of the US, Portugal and Canada, have already begun reconsidering their commitments to the F-35, prompted by the Trump administration's policies. Last Friday, Portugal revealed it had paused its procurement plans for the F-35 Lightning II, citing President Trump's approach. Canada's Defense Minister Bill Blair has also stated that Canada might withdraw from a $19 billion agreement for F-35 jets and explore other possibilities. Now Germany is poised to potentially cancel its own agreement for American-built F-35s. Nearly all of Europe and Canada are re-evaluating their association with the F-35 program. Germany's recent response, following Canada and Portugal, has become a major headline, signaling the increasing divide between the United States and the European Union. Security experts in Germany are worried that under a Trump-led administration, the US could remotely shut down Germany's F-35 Lightning II jets. In 2022, Germany committed to acquiring 35 of these jets for a total of $8.4 billion. The first jet is scheduled for delivery to the German Bundeswehr in 2026, with the remaining units arriving in 2027. Training for German forces is planned to begin in the US in either 2026 or 2027, unless Berlin calls off the order entirely. We'll now explore further whether Germany, like Portugal and Canada, will renounce the F-35s. President Trump's inability to guarantee European nations' security has made the continent's reliance on American weaponry a central issue.
Way over our heads in NATO. Many of the countries weren't paying, and I said, you're going to have to all pay or we're not going to protect you any longer.
Criticism and distrust toward the fifth-generation US-made F-35 fighter jet have peaked in Europe. As noted earlier, Trump's failure to provide adequate assurances has sparked questions about the F-35s in Germany after similar moves by Portugal and Canada. Thomas Enders, a significant voice in German foreign policy, warned that persisting with the F-35s would be unwise. He described them as unnecessary, and highlighted the immense maintenance and life cycle expenses added to the already high procurement costs. Enders asserted that the deal should be terminated due to the evolving geopolitical climate. Referring to US claims of having extensive control over the jets, the former Airbus CEO said the Americans could disable them at any moment, making buyers fully reliant on them. Enders warned that Trump could prevent any F-35 from taking off at will. With such a US administration, the F-35s pose a considerable security risk. He argued Germany should instead channel its resources into UAVs and robotics. Recently, German media reported a sense of urgency in Berlin regarding the F-35s after the Trump government halted military and intelligence assistance to Ukraine.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there, that's the border.
The F-35s are intended to replace Germany's aging Panavia Tornado aircraft and to maintain NATO's nuclear deterrent capability, something not possible with the Luftwaffe's Eurofighters. Apart from the F-35s, Germany is also in the process of acquiring 60 Boeing CH-47F Chinook helicopters and 8 P-8A maritime patrol planes from the US. The helicopters are expected in October 2027, while the first P-8A aircraft for the German Navy recently had its maiden flight in the US. Additionally, Germany's Air Force will get 3 Pegasus signals intelligence jets, based on Bombardier's Global 6000 being customized in Kansas by Bombardier Defense and Germany's Hensoldt. Defense analysts in Berlin believe Germany's new government should take a leading role in European military aircraft development by prioritizing programs like the Eurofighter and its future successor, Airbus Defense and Space, has lobbied Berlin to support the Eurofighter by ordering more units. This decade, Germany has already signed for 38 additional jets via Project Quadriga, and last year announced plans to buy 20 more. Germany is collaborating with other EU nations on advanced aviation projects. France, Germany and Spain are working on the Future Combat Air System, while Italy and the UK are partnering with Japan on the Global Combat Air Programme. These efforts aim to deliver 6th-generation jets and related systems by 2040 and 2035 respectively. Should these initiatives succeed, and if Germany finds an F-35 alternative, US-German defense aviation relations could suffer. Enjoying the insights? Drop us a like to support independent reporting on global defense issues, and stay connected by subscribing now. Germany's new Chancellor Friedrich Merz is passionate about achieving full independence from the US.
Absolute priority will be to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible, so that step by step, we can really achieve independence from the United States.
This ambition likely stems from a series of announcements by the Trump administration that alarmed German political leaders. Additionally, Germany was angered by Vice President J.D. Vance's recent harsh criticism of Europe at the Munich Security Conference, and by Elon Musk's alleged meddling in German elections in support of the far-right party AfD. Merz pledged to be ready for any legal consequences of Musk's interference. Today, Berlin's stance remains firm. Germany is seeking military independence from the US, but achieving true autonomy will not be easy. Defining and implementing it requires navigating deep transatlantic ties. If Merz's idea of real independence means no longer relying on the US for defense, several major steps are needed. First, he'll have to convince coalition partners like the Social Democrats, as German governments are bound by detailed agreements. Second, Merz must significantly raise defense spending. Currently, Germany's military budget is just over $90 billion, 2% of GDP. Recently, the Bundestag voted on whether to limit defense expenditure. Economist Monika Schnitzer, head of Germany's Council of Economic Experts, said this vote is vital to Merz's strategy. The Bugel think tank estimates Germany would need an additional $145 billion per year to defend Europe independently, which would breach the country's debt brake. Changing this rule would require a 2/3 parliamentary majority, a tall order. For true defense autonomy, Merz must also win over other EU partners. If Trump continues to undermine NATO, the EU will need to assume a greater role in European security.
When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all. And I said I should wait till my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate, we're not going to protect you.
As Merz suggests, the UK and France might need to consider sharing their nuclear arsenals, given that the US is no longer viewed as a reliable protector. All this pertains solely to security. Other complex issues like trade and energy remain. Economic ties between Germany and the US run deep, and tariffs pose a looming threat. Merz's idea of real independence is especially surprising considering his own admiration for the US and Ronald Reagan. He was active in transatlantic lobbying and claims to have visited the US over 100 times. Still, Germany under Merz might adopt a more assertive approach to protect national and EU interests. The Trump administration's disregard for European priorities has pushed Berlin to reconsider its role. Merz's election coincided with withdrawing from key European initiatives, and it may lead Germany to become a stronger EU leader, a role his predecessor Olaf Scholz struggled to fulfill. Merz's tougher stance on Russia also means improved cooperation with France's Emmanuel Macron, unlike Scholz's strained relationship. Germany is now pushing for French nuclear arms to be stationed on German soil.
Notre dissuasion nucléaire nous protège. Elle est complète, souveraine, française de bout en bout. Elle a, depuis 1964, de manière explicite, toujours joué un rôle dans la préservation de la paix et de la sécurité en Europe.
Diplomatic circles suggest this could prompt the UK to do the same. Leaders from Denmark, Poland, and the Baltic states have expressed support for Macron's idea, yet expanding France's nuclear umbrella is no small feat. The primary challenge is financial. Upgrading warheads, missiles, and submarines would require huge investments. With many EU economies still recovering from COVID-19 and battling inflation, Brussels may find it tough to allocate the funds. Moreover, achieving political consensus is another challenge. While some countries, especially those bordering Russia, may embrace expanded nuclear protection, others like Austria and Ireland, with their long-standing neutrality, may resist. Germany, long opposed to nuclear proliferation, could now change its stance in pursuit of US independence. Berlin is also seeking to strengthen domestic defense capabilities. Major German brands are turning toward the military sector. Volkswagen CEO Oliver Blume recently announced the firm's readiness to contribute to defense manufacturing due to falling car exports and underused factories. Volkswagen, with annual revenues exceeding €320 billion and operations in 130 facilities worldwide, already participates in the defense sector via Traton Group's partnership with Rheinmetall through Rheinmetall military vehicles. They supply HX series military trucks to the German army. As demand for civilian cars continues to fall in the EU from 15.1 million to 10.6 million in 5 years, Volkswagen is exploring options to enter military manufacturing. While no specific weapons projects are confirmed, the company might support production of vehicle components for military use: engines, transmissions, axles, power systems, and more. By working with a giant like Volkswagen, prime defense contractors could scale production faster, but this hinges on funding availability and willingness to share expertise. Still, Volkswagen may become a major military industry player in Germany. Germany's shift in defense policy and its pivot toward EU cooperation over reliance on the US are highly significant developments. Whether Berlin cancels the F-35 program following the lead of Canada and Portugal remains to be seen. But if it does, it could mark a dramatic shift in global defense alliances. If you made it this far, make sure you're subscribed for more updates on the world's changing power structures, and give us a like if you appreciate in-depth analysis. Thank you for watching.